Hi, my name's Mr. Webb and I am world famous for being married to Mrs. Webb. I also make world famous chocolate chip cookies that are really chewy and lovely, and Mrs. Webb wanted me to share the recipe with some of you, so here it is. Here are the things that you're going to need in order to make these world famous chewy chocolate chip cookies. First of all, you're going to need some butter, you're going to need some sugar, and the best kind of sugar is the soft brown sugar. You can use any kind, you can use caster sugar, you can use ordinary white sugar, it doesn't matter. I don't think you should use icing sugar, that won't work. But soft brown sugar is the best of all because it will make the cookies really chewy and yummy. You're also going to need some condensed milk, a tin of that. You're going to need some flour, and it's got to be self-raising flour, otherwise you're going to end up with like little hard frisbees, horrible. Self-raising flour. And finally, you're going to need some chocolate chips. Here's how you do it. First of all, you're going to measure out the butter and the sugar. The correct measurements are in the description underneath this video. So you're going to measure out your butter and your sugar. If you need to, if your butter isn't already soft, because if you've left it out of the fridge in a cupboard or something, you should be fine. If it's not already soft, chop it up into little cubes and stick it in the microwave for just 10 or 15 seconds, no more, or it'll all melt and turn into a kind of a lake, and that's no good at all. It's got to just be a little bit soft. You get your butter and your sugar in the bowl and you whisk them together until they're nice and fluffy and all mixed up together. Then you open your tin of condensed milk and you tip that in, mix that in as well. Then you're going to measure out your flour. You put your flour into the mixture and you get your hand mixer and you whisk all that in until it's all nice and gooey cookie dough. And then finally you tip in your chocolate chips. If you can get a packet of chocolate chips, that's absolutely perfect. If you can't, it's fine. Just get an ordinary bar of chocolate and very carefully with a sharp knife, you're going to chop that up into little pieces. You may want to get someone to help you with that. When you've got all the chocolate chips mixed in, then you're going to start measuring out each of the the cookies themselves. I usually use a teaspoon. If you take about half a teaspoon, 3/4 of a teaspoon, that's usually enough for sort of a little lump. You're going to be looking for something that can be rolled into a ball about the size of, well, not quite a ping pong ball, a little bit smaller than that. But now here's the real trick. You're going to take your baking tray. You're going to get that ready, and you're going to put some butter on your baking tray, just a little thin layer, which you're going to spread all over to grease it up really nicely. And then when you get your ball of dough, you're not going to put the ball straight onto the baking tray, but you're going to kind of roll it between your hands to make a cylinder, like a tower. And you're going to make a whole row of these towers, and then another row and another row with quite a bit of space in between them, because when you put them in the oven, they're going to melt and start spreading out a little bit. Why are we making the tower? Because what happens, it's like magic, and if you've got one of those ovens like we've got with a glass front, you can see this happen. When you put them in the oven, the tower will start to melt and the whole thing will start to collapse and spread out and form a lovely dome-shaped kind of cookie. And what will happen then is when you bring it out of the oven, the outside will go nice and crisp, but the inside will stay lovely and soft. It's like magic. And if you want to know the one big secret to making great chewy cookies, I'd say that's it, the towers. So you'll see that. You put the towers all over the baking tray, and you put the baking trays into the oven. Now, you're going to want to cook them for about 12 minutes. And it's very crucial to get the right time. So after about 10 or 11 minutes, you're going to start wanting to keep an eye on them, either through the glass door or by opening the door and quickly and closing it again, so you can see what's going on with the cookies, because they're going to get to a point where they're going to be quite pale, just starting to go brown, but quite pale all over, maybe browning a little bit just around the edges. They're going to look like they've not really cooked yet, that you're going to say to yourself, oh, they look pretty soft and they look gooey, and I reckon I should leave them in for a couple of more minutes. Don't. That's the moment to take them out. When they've gone all brown all over the top and they've gone solid, too late, because when you take them out of the oven and put them on the side, they're going to carry on cooking for a couple more minutes. So what you want to do is get them out when they're just starting to brown. Put the baking trays on the side for a couple of minutes, just leave them, because they'll be too soft to take off the baking tray. Every so often just try poking at the edge with a knife. If they still feel gooey, it's too early, you can't take them off the baking tray. When they start to feel like they're not quite so gooey anymore, get a nice spatula or palette knife or just something thin and flat, and just kind of scrape them off the baking tray and get them onto a cooling rack. Leave them for at least another couple of minutes. After that, it's up to you. You can keep them for days in a nice plastic plastic tub and they'll keep lovely and soft and chewy, but the best time to eat them? Right now. I hope you enjoy eating those cookies and I hope you enjoy cooking them as well. That's the world famous cookie recipe. Enjoy!